really did. Hey, y'all. Welcome to Fake Deep Thinking. Just a group of guys sitting down talking about the world. Today we have with us John, Doc,
Yo.
and myself, Eugene.
wait, what was that picture of?
Yeah,
I
I was like, oh, I think that's the girl that died.
Well, I think that's the girl that died.
Oh God.
I know, right? Come
Oh,
on now.
God.
I guess let's talk about this
it looks like
first.
she don't believe Alec Baldwin did it on accident either.
It looks like
She like,
I
oh
don't know,
really?
it
That's
looks
how I
like a hipster,
died.
like artist. Like I thought she was like a singer or something like that, but then I thought about it. And I was like, oh wait, I think she
Damn,
was
that's
the
crazy. Rest in peace.
cinematographer.
All right. Well, I guess let's talk about this first. Since John had to go and try to make a little jab.
It just looked like she don't even believe that's how she got killed.
I wouldn't either, honestly.
Like really, that's the face I
that's
would
an
have
unfortunate
watching
way
my
to
body.
go. Like, what the heck? Like, really?
Alec Baldwin.
And that's a real hard hitting title, Warrant Baldwin. As soon as you read that, people are like, oh, they can arrest him, and then you
Hey,
read arrest
Merkin
him,
Frog,
like,
shout out.
Oh, what's up, my boy? Okay, so Baldwin, Stone Cold. Hold on, first off, let me get this fucking smile off my face. Somebody else talk. Somebody else.
Scroll
talk.
down. Let me read this. So let's get a quick rundown on what exactly happened, and then let's talk about it. So, an assistant director unwittingly handed Alec Baldwin a loaded weapon and told him it was safe to use in the moments before the actor fatally shot a cinematographer, court records released Friday show. Quote, cold gun, the assistant director announced, according to a search warrant filed in a Santa Fe court. Instead, the gun was loaded with a live round, and when Baldwin pulled the trigger Thursday on the set of a Western, he killed cinematographer Halyana. Am I saying that right? Halyana?
I think it's like Halion or
I'm
something.
so sorry. I'm butchering this name. Forgive me. Hutchinson. I'm just calling it Hutchinson. That's easier.
Miss Hutchins.
Yeah, Miss Hutchinson. Miss Hutchins. Director Joel Souza was standing behind her, was wounded, the record said. The Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office obtained the warrant Friday so investigators could document the scene at the ranch house, Santa Fe, where the shooting took place. They sought to examine Baldwin's blood-stained costume for the film Rust, as well as the weapon that was fired, other prop guns and ammunition, and any footage that might have existed. So pretty much we got the gist of it, I think, right here. He got a prop gun. For God knows what reason, decided to point the prop gun at the cinematographer, if that's what happened. Pulled the trigger, shot her, wounded the guy behind her.
That was the scene, though. This scene was like a down-the-barrel shot for as them being filmed. And so he was supposed to do that, and he was supposed to fire it, but there wasn't a real bullet that was supposed to come out.
Question,
So,
Matt, why would there ever need to be a real bullet and a gun on the set?
That was probably a mistake because they're not supposed to be.
I was actually reading into it. They do use real bullets for loading scenes. So whenever you see them,
really?
like,
For loading, like
like
when they're loading the gun, like they're actually
like when they're doing
real
prop
bullets.
Yeah,
Not
they're
prop
using
bullets
real
or anything like that.
No,
That's wild.
It's like a thing they do where they use real bullets for that one scene, but then afterwards, the armorer, not the assistant fucking director, is supposed to go retrieve the weapon, unload it, and then make it cold.
So that's a person's job.
It is literally a person. There's a fucking union.
Yeah, what are they called? They have a title. What's their title?
He said the armorer.
Yeah, the armorer and the prop master. I think they intertwine.
Okay.
Yeah, there's like unions of people that fucking their sole jobs are to go get the weapon, inspect it, deliver it to the actor. The actor does his scene. Actor gives it back. They take it back, do whatever they need to do to, like, release the weapon and make it cold and stuff like that. So what I was reading was that, for one, this is an independent film, so it's a budget film. And two, they went with like a local weapon supplier. I don't even know if they went like full on with a full on armor and stuff like that. If the assistant director is giving you a gun, that's not an armor. So like they're already like, cutting corners, and people had walked off set because there had already been previous. Yep. Yeah, there was like 3 firearm discharges before this even happened, and like 2 people quit, I think even the day of, because of it. Wow. And then this has happened. And so
what studio was this, a Netflix movie? Like what?
No.
I don't know. Well, it's independent, so it doesn't have to be a studio, man.
Oh,
Alec
so they were
Baldwin
just
was one
making
of the
the film
producers.
independent.
Yeah.
They're probably going to shop it around after.
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Wait,
I do know that Baldwin was like
producers?
one of the producers. Yeah, he was putting a good amount of money into it, but I guess it wasn't enough because they just didn't hire. Well, I didn't hire somebody who was supposed to do this properly, man. Somebody like he probably knows gave him a loaded gun.
The question that's been going around the internet, and we'll address it here individually. do you think Alec Baldwin's at fault? Do you think he has any fault in this? Any responsibility, anything like that?
Yes.
Me too.
Really? I don't think so.
That's one first thing they do, and they like. Even if you don't get training, when you go into a gun store, the first thing they tell you is they ask you to handle the gun properly. And if you don't know, they tell you if you don't know, we'll show you how. And it's always cock the chamber back, check and see if it's loaded or not, and then take out the magazine and make sure it's on safety. Like even if you're not trained, even at gun stores, they tell you what to do. And he's apparently, allegedly, he also has previous training from other films that he has done. And if he himself didn't go through before the shot he's even taken to do his double checks, then yeah, like gun safety 101. Like, how does he not have some level of responsibility?
So
in this?
I guess that is actually the argument, and that's the thing I was thinking about, because he does have a lot of gun training from like other movies. He's also an advocate against guns, or like gun regulation, at least. I don't know if he wants to abolish them or anything like that. But it's not like the messed up thing is, it's not your job to check the gun. To an extent, like when it's a big machine, when it's a huge production, that's not your job, dude. Like, you have other positions that you need to be worrying about. You have like your points that you need to hit. There's a guy whose job it is to do that for you. He needs to hit that mark. In this situation, I guess the waters get murky when it's a budget and the assistant director is the one handing you the gun.
Man, take out all of this. Hold on, take out all of this real quick. Hold on, take out all of this and just simply to simplify to the fact that you're handing a man a weapon.
I agree with you on that point, but I want to say it might not have been a budget issue. The assistant director grabbed the gun from the cart and brought it inside, unaware that it was loaded with the live rounds. The armorer put it on the thing. So this seems like something that was done like in a rush. Like, oh, we need a gun for the thing, and he just went and grabbed the gun unknowing, and the armorer person wasn't obviously there to hand the person. It doesn't seem like they had a person whose position it was.
And that would just from my opinion even more. Then he should have had if he did do it in a rush, real quick. Let me check. We're good. Let's get this. We'll go.
The real reason I agree with you is, besides the machine thing and all that stuff, I think regardless if you're somebody who's a proponent of, or you're against loose gun laws and you want stricter gun laws, then I would think you would take it seriously to the point where, honestly speaking, regardless of the situation, when handed a gun, the idea of this gun, can take a life, would be like, okay,
aware of it.
Let me, regardless of what is going on, regardless of who's paid to do what, let me personally be responsible, because regardless of whatever it is, when we're talking about guns, gun control or whatever, it's the people behind the guns. You know what I'm saying? It's the accessibility to the guns, but it's the people behind the guns shooting. So if you take that personal responsibility, regardless, no matter what, when you're behind a gun, this type of thing can be avoided. Like,
well, that's the thing though. But if you work with certain people, that might be trained out of you. Because if you're working with certain directors who's like, why the hell are you fucking doing that? That's not your job. That's why we pay him. Do your fucking scene. Like, dude, especially if you've done a lot of films and you get to a point to where it is a relay. You know, as soon as the baton is in your hand, you go. That is your job. Well, I can kind of see why that would happen.
I would disagree
in
with
you like this.
I disagree with you because he was an executive producer, and so there was nobody on set telling him anything as far as like control. He put money. He was backing it. So like, he's been in that situation where, yeah, like you're saying, probably the directors yelled at him. But when do you think the last time a director actually really yelled at Alec Baldwin to do anything, realistically speaking? And then on top of that, if he's an executive producer, he's pretty entwined in the outcome of what's going on and like the final production and how everything is going to look. It has to please him. So there'd be more of a questioning thing instead of like a demanding thing. I'm just saying personal responsibility. If you're in a movie, if you're doing whatever, man, they took my boy Bruce Lee Jr. out like this, boy.
Yeah, that's right. That's true.
Well, he died differently though. He was actually given a gun with an actual blank in it, but a piece of debris fell into the chamber and it fired it.
And hit him. But I'm just saying
there wasn't an actual bullet in the gun.
Yeah, I know that. But I'm just saying
negligence.
It was still.
Well, then that goes to the point, though. Then that was actual negligence and genuine accident, whereas this one, now let me add this to the equation. This is another topic that's being brought up, and I don't know if I believe this one or not, but I'm just bringing it up to the topic for the equation. Because there were some walkouts going on, people are conspiracy or whatever that someone might have planted the gun. because usually because of the checkpoints they have in place, this should never happen. And the fact that this happened, people are saying because people were walking off in the unsafe conditions, someone was very malicious.
I don't think the conspiracy is true because the
that seems
actual
extra. I don't think
blame
so either.
is right there in that sentence. Assistant Director Dave Halls grabbed the gun from the cart and brought it inside to Baldwin, unaware that it was loaded with live rounds. If he was told,
I mean, it could have been messed with beforehand.
but if he was told it was not live rounds, he would have said that, and that would have already been in the article. But he didn't say that. Dave Halls was okay with it being, I grabbed it off the cart and gave it to him not knowing. He didn't even say Hannah gave it to him.
Well, to be consistent too with my argument, he himself being the guy who's in charge of this, like Doc said, there's guys in charge of this, didn't check it before he handed it. Like, did he grab it off the table, check it, and then hand it to Alec Baldwin?
Nope.
But that's the thing, though. There was, like, I do still think he has some level of responsibility to this. Everyone who touched that gun, it should be arguably habit to check it.
Boom.
Cock it back, check the chamber, put it back, like all that stuff. It should be habit. No, even if it goes through 4 different people just to get to its destination, all 4 of those people should check the gun if they're handling it. There's a level of responsibility, whether or not it's 100% responsibility or even 1%. There's responsibility in the factor because even with that 1% that messes up could lead to, as we're seeing, an accident.
And not only that, the wrong person brought him the gun. That should have been a red flag immediately.
Yeah, that I do actually kind of agree with. Like, you already knew that there was already like issues about it, unless Baldwin was just like, I'm only staying in my fucking
Trailer.
and I'm not going outside. I don't see what problems people are going through. Then I'm like, that's kind of fucked up. But yeah, that should have been a red flag that somebody who's not the armor brought you a weapon.
And then look, so boom, Gutierrez, who was the person who should have brought him the gun, was not the person who brought him the gun. Red flag. Assistant director brings him the gun. After the shot was fired, it was unclear how many rounds were fired. Gutierrez removed a shell casing from the gun after the shooting, and she turned the weapon over to the police once they arrived. So once the shot happened,
there was more than one shot?
So after the shooting, Gutierrez, whose responsibility was to handle the gun, was still there. So she either rushed to the scene, or why was this person whose job it was, when they were aware that he had a gun, why didn't they go check the gun that was taken off the cart? I didn't give this man a gun. This is my whole
I didn't
job.
authorize this. Yeah,
This is my whole job.
That's a key
But
issue.
you get what I'm saying? So it's just, I don't know. I don't believe, like I said, I don't believe Alec Baldwin is the main one to blame, obviously. It may be like 5% blame type thing. But regardless, at the end of the day, bro, he killed somebody, so.
And that's one thing I want to address, too, that no matter how you feel about Alec Baldwin in this situation, I do personally find how weird it is how people are so quick to attack Alec Baldwin. I don't really personally like Alec Baldwin like that. I don't really like, I just don't care for him.
I love him.
But
on
I'm not
airplanes.
gonna capitalize on the situation to suddenly use this very tragic moment. Like, dude, accidentally, I don't think he did it purposefully. And with that belief, to accidentally kill somebody, bro, that's a weight. And then in this moment, you got people out here like attacking you because in the past you said, how can somebody accidentally kill some? I saw some messed up tweets about how he tweeted how can someone accidentally kill somebody. And he goes and does it, and they say some really messed up stuff. It's like, bro, that's not the time for this. Like, dude, that's a heavy thing when somebody accidentally kills somebody. Even when that cop did it, like it was bad and tragic. Like, it was a dumb mistake on her, but we weren't. I don't know. It's just like that is.
Oh, the one that thought she had her taser.
Thought she had her taser, exactly.
Wait, did people on Twitter actually do that to Alec Baldwin?
Yeah, there were people going after him because he
What?
said in the
Look,
past
look,
how
look,
like he
but
criticized people who
let me say
accidentally
something.
shoot their guns, and now he did
Me
it, and they're going at him.
personally-
It's like not the time.
Me
yo, like,
personally,
that's too heavy.
I will never, from henceforth, I will never cite people on Twitter as an actual, and this is not taking away nothing from you, as an opinion, because I'm learning today. All of them are on Twitter. They're everyone. Like, no matter what issue, there's a opposite person that does not care
on Twitter.
about it, the nuances about it on Twitter, offering their opinions. So in the real world, literally, you will not bump into people who, you know what I'm saying, 9 times out of 10 people who say, oh, Alec Baldwin is wrong for this. But like in the Twitter sphere, where the internet is so small, they're able to voice their opinion. All they need is a couple 50, 100 people to agree with them in their little subsection, and it'll be one of the top comments, and then because it's outrageous or because it's such a outlandish view on something, people will share it more, and therefore the reach on that actual opinion goes way further than the actual connectivity
Yeah, I agree with
to
that. I
the
feel
you know
like,
what I'm saying? Like
yeah, because
as
it's
many
so
people,
like inflammatory, it just fucking catches fire and just
boom,
spreads, and you're
But I
just
guess
like,
that's
what
my
the
issue though.
fuck?
Is it's how
example,
easily things become so
example.
outrageous or
I
inflammatory.
could
It's
have been
like,
a predator.
oh,
Do you
man.
know? Do you know? Do you know how many views that video has?
A lot.
No, the original,
Oh no, I don't know.
5,400.
There's an original. Oh, what were we? Oh, we were watching the other one. That's
Yeah.
right.
His
I
We
was
original
like,
tried to
video.
there's
watch the
one
original,
he
His
did
but
original
before
video.
that.
Hold
Like,
on,
what
what'd
the
Dex say?
fuck? No, I was just saying, there's one that he did before that. Like, that's wild.
No,
Man.
no, like the one without Abba and Preach, the one without
Playback.
the one
Oh,
with that
okay.
because we saw reactions to it. The original video that he posted that they were reacting
The first
to,
video we're going to react to that was 8 minutes long that we decided just to watch the short little clips that
5,400 views. Now all the reactions have
boosted it.
no. Nobody wants to watch the original.
Well, but they know of it.
They know
They're
of it.
aware of it, but the original, because it's like I said, made me uncomfortable. You got hot.
That's what I'm saying. So his original point was defending R. Kelly and saying he could have been a predator, but that opinion, even though his opinion spread as
So
in,
should we not bring light to those type of opinions?
No. I'm not saying we shouldn't.
I know. I get.
But I'm just saying his reach, the reach of what he was saying, reached way further out than people who actually, the amount of people who actually shared that opinion with him. So if you just identify 5,400 people sharing that opinion with him to go search that video to watch it, I'm not saying all those people do, but those are the people who wanted to go see that video. But then millions of people watch the reactions to the video
They don't want to see
because they don't want to see the
I'd
video.
rather see
So
the
the source, the information, the opinion that he had, even though it was outlandish and it got spread to millions of people to view, the idea itself wasn't contagious. The idea itself wasn't so popular that it itself. So we could even say there's a group of people who agree with him.
So then, is it wrong to address it then?
No. It's not wrong to address it. I just no longer can internalize that as when I used to see people on like that group or any group on Twitter talk like that. I would I'd give them a physical presence.
No, you completely got rid of that. Like, you're just
Yeah, you're just
a wind, just a leaf in the
You're
wind.
just a leaf in the wind. I used to give them like a physical presence, like 200 reach. That's 200 standing people, but 200 standing people on all of the
Outside your
globe.
house. I got to take on these 200 people one day. Like, they're gonna come at you.
You know what I'm saying? Like 200 people on the whole globe, and then half of you probably just posted it because of the shock value. So then it's like when you get to how many people actually share the opinions of the things that they actually are sharing on the internet, it's a lot more. I think it's a lot less volatile as far as.
Because for me, I'll acknowledge that when I saw it, it was more of just a reaction. Because I was like, y'all really feel this way? Like, even if it's like minor, like 50 people, it's like, y'all really feel this way? Y'all felt so much like you had to share this tweet? Why?
just to do it.
Like, a few of them
Just
though are like,
I'm superior.
I'm just gonna do
to-
it. Like fuck yeah, I'm gonna like it. You know what? Fuck it. Or like kids playing around, like click the like. You like, you would like that? Like, fuck it. I don't care. Whatever. But they're not being serious. But I mean, I'm just thinking on the bright side for that. There might actually be 50 people who are genuinely fucking about some really messed up stuff on Twitter.
Yeah.
Especially that one video though. To be fair, I gave that guy a solid chance of like, all right, let me hear how you could have been a predator
Nah.
and how you turned it around.
Nah, my
And
guy
he
was
just
tripping.
kept digging. He just kept going
My g-
further down, and I was like, dude, when's the turn? Like, when's the moment of redemption? It's like there isn't one here, man. Like, you're just going further in, and I was done.
Apparently, we got the PG version too. Apparently, like there was.
Because we didn't
like,
watch the original 8 minutes. The 8 minutes is
apparently
pretty
the
bad.
original had some
'Cause the-
details.
The original 8 minutes
boy.
started off intense. I fucked the sister. I fucked the mom, the daughter, whatever he said. It was like, bro, that's how you start the video off? What?
Yeah, the
That man
point
was
where
chaos.
I hit the eject button was when he said he found out the girl's true age, and then he
And he
kept
still-
doing it, and
yep.
I was just like, nah. That's it, bro.
Dude, I know
Like,
this makes
I'm
it
out.
has no. Have y'all watched Jubilee, right?
Yeah,
Have y'all seen the one where it's like Odd Man Out?
that sounds familiar.
Yeah, there are 5 people. They're
Yes.
all boom, boom,
Yep,
boom.
and you got to figure out who's the liar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you
yeah.
see the one with the immigrants?
No, I don't think so.
Oh.
No.
There's a guy on there that reminds me of this guy, the Predator. He comes on there, right? And this has nothing to do with anything. It's just pure chaos. The guy comes in there all black. and they're trying to figure out who's the immigrant, who's the illegal amongst the 5 people. And they ask him, they're like, "Where are you from?" He's like, "Doesn't matter." The dude's like, "Yeah, that's the whole point of what we're doing here." He's like, "So where are your people from?" He said, "Why are you asking?" Looked at him straight ahead. So they moved on, voted him out immediately. He lost the first round. And then they go to ask him afterward. He's like, "I was the most memorable person here. I'm chaos."
What?
And that reminds me of that guy, because if you watch his reaction to the reactions to his video, he actually goes online with a lawyer guy or whatever, and he's like, it was an experiment, a social experiment to see this and that. Yeah, to see if the reaction and all this. Oh man, it's cringe. It's cringe. Yeah, he called it a social experiment. He said he did it to be. He said he lied about the people's ages.
Okay.
Yeah, he basically just decided. He said he just wanted to be an agent of chaos, and that was it. So yeah,
Okay.
no, he capped, but yeah.
All right, let's move on. We kind of got a little sidetracked with this topic. I guess let's go to Brian Laundrie. Little updates there. So apparently they found Brian Laundrie's teeth. Let me read
teeth and some belongings.
some belongings. So let's read this a little bit and let's dive into it. So, using dental records, authorities have confirmed the human remains found at the, I'm going to butcher this, Mayakachachi.
Wait, hold on, where we at? Oh, no, I'm going to let you go yourself.
Mayakachachi Creek, forgive me, I butchered that. I know I did. Creek Environmental Park match Brian Laundrie. In an interview with the Herald Tribune, North Point Police Department spokesman Josh Taylor said Thursday that the remains found at the Wilderness Park were bones and not flesh. He added that it was likely Laundrie, which the FBI later confirmed. An attorney representing Laundrie also said the family was notified by officials that it was him. Quote, "From my amateur viewpoint, it seemed like bones," quote, unquote. Taylor said before the ID was confirmed, quote, "I haven't heard anything about flesh. Obviously, it's just being bones is kind of descriptive. Is it Brian? I think it's pretty likely. I really do," unquote. And then we got a tweet about the dental records. Go down. This is pretty much where it ends. I'll finish up here. We'll talk about it. Just a day after reopening it, investigators have once again closed the park to the public and say that they will be combing through the area for several more days, trying to piece together what may have happened. Accompanied by marked and unmarked police vehicles, a truck from Florida Gulf Coast University's Forensic Anthropology Division and another from Archaeological Consultants Incorporated were seen heading into the environmental park Thursday. During a brief press conference Thursday, officials from the North Point Police Department and Lee County Sheriff's Office thanked other agencies for their assistance in the weeks-long manhunt, but they gave little information or new details into recent discoveries at the park. So, first question. Do y'all really think he's dead?
I don't know, man. My first skeptic question is, how long does it take for flesh to decompose?
Come on,
dude,
son.
It takes a minute.
Come on, son.
That's what I'm thinking. To just have only bones left.
Here, real quick, Ian, Google how long does it take for skin to decay?
Yeah, like organs and stuff like that.
Also, didn't they just catch him on video?
What do you mean they did? They just catch him?
They caught him on somebody's property along that park
I have
line.
not seen that footage if they did.
The day when we were in the group chat texting.
I don't think there's a footage of him. I think someone came across him potentially, but I
No,
don't know if they got.
I saw the footage.
Oh, you saw the actual footage?
Yeah, of him getting off a bike.
Oh snap!
Yeah,
Well,
that's what
maybe-
made them look. That's what made them close the park off and look for him.
So I remember mentioning all the group just saying, "Oh, they was spotted in Florida, spotted," but I didn't know the actual
they
video. Of
literally caught him on a
okay.
bike with
wow!
backpack and everything.
Oh wow!
So you caught him on video. Now he's bones.
That wasn't too long ago. You're right. Something's up here. How long does it take for skin to... Okay, so it says right here, 3 to several years, 3 weeks to several years for a body to completely decompose to a skin. Depending on factors such as temperature, humidity, presence of insects, and submergence in the substance such as water. Dude, 3 weeks? When that first report came out, it hasn't been 3 weeks. So...
where was the body?
At the park.
We're just trying to
It's not
fucking
like they
solve
dug it up out the
mystery,
desert the way they're fucking explaining it.
Yeah, I thought actually heat turns your body into jerky, doesn't it? Doesn't it make your body preserve a little bit longer?
Heat? No.
Oh, let's be real. This is
Oh,
Tampa
okay.
police we're talking about here. Florida police. Anything's possible in Florida. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Heat will probably make it decay quicker.
Interesting. I actually kind of wish I would have taken that forensics class that my university offered then, because
Yeah, to
they
preserve, I think you need to low temperatures, cool temperatures, and lack of exposure to the air.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I remember they had a body farm, and they wanted to test what like cadavers look like in the heat, and so I remember they had a portion of like reserved land where they just had bodies in cages.
Who?
Uh, it's a university project. Like they're dead already. They're donated cadavers,
They do stuff like that, yeah.
and they put them out and they kind of covered them with like a cage so that like grave robbers don't come and like
Like
mess with
there's
them or do
like the
stuff.
what's it
And
called
they
museum.
see what
They
the heat
sometimes
does
have
to it.
cadavers showing you body parts, like literally dead bodies, sometimes cut in half or certain
That
arms and
has
stuff
its
like.
own fucking controversy because I heard those people from whatever Asian countries were donated,
Yeah,
they were donated against their will.
that's interesting. I didn't know that. That's
Yeah, like some
crazy.
of them were like grave robbed, and some of them were they were like essentially slaves or something like that.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, like it's got a whole controversy behind it. So I remember when it came to my city, there was a portion of people that were protesting it.
Hmm. Interesting. I did not know that. I got a ticket to that museum. Didn't go. Low key wish I
It
did, but now it seems kind of good thing I did it maybe.
it's wild, man. I
You can get
went
the same
and
exhibit. Go to the strip club.
they
This guy.
no, this was totally different, dude. Trust me. This is way fucking different. You'll still see naked bodies, but it's not the way you want to.
Not the way you want it. So another question I wanted to bring up is the parents. They helped with the manhunt, and some people are saying how it's kind of weird how when they start helping with the manhunt, suddenly they find his body in Florida. Or I'm not body. I apologize. They don't find flesh. Found his bone, his teeth. In
Why
Florida.
they let 50-year-old parents help with the manhunt? I've never heard that before.
Probably because they were getting some flack for how they just.
No. There's no reason for them to let the parents help because he had a warrant out for his arrest. It's different if they were saying he was a person of interest for the murder. That is true.
Did they have a warrant for his?
They had a warrant for credit card fraud
Oh, okay.
because he used her card to get back to town.
Okay.
So he had a warrant out. So it's wild that they let the parents help look for him in the first place. Boy,
Yeah,
look.
actively searching, like they were probably just calling him back in, like, "Hey, come home, turn yourself in," type stuff. Like, were they actually out in the boonies trying to dig him up or wherever?
But regardless
He
of
might have like showed
whatever,
up where they told him he was gonna go, and then the cops went into the forest.
I just don't think. As far as like the way it's described as them helping, I've just never heard it described like that. It's one way if you're saying his parents have been forthcoming, his parents have been cooperative. That's different. Cooperating is, oh, if he calls, let us know. Cooperating is all those type of things. Helping look,
Seems like conflict of interest.
yeah, just doesn't make sense to me.
I just find it suspicious that you found teeth and not flesh, and he's been has
And
he been
some
reported?
belongings.
Like, is he reported dead, or is the assumption he's dead?
Why the
I don't
flesh
even know.
card?
Yeah, if they haven't reported it, then he's not reported dead.
Because all they did
But
was
it does make
report that
sense,
the
though.
forensic files confirm these items are his. So that does not saying he's dead. It's just saying we.
Yeah,
If
this
it's
shit
not-
sounds kind of weird, man. Because it sounds like the stuff they uncovered is like a cold case. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's already been like years, and we finally found him. Like, what the fuck? Like, dude, he's only been gone for like a month. I think.
I'm
About a
still
month and a
baffled
half,
this man
it
hasn't left the
feels like.
states. Like, why is he still in the states?
Yo, this nigga, hey, I ain't gonna lie. I was trying my best not to put my tinfoil on, boy, but this nigga alive. Only unless they just not being forthcoming with the actual information, like how the state of the body was. This nigga went and robbed a grave and pulled his teeth out because there's no way it's just skeleton. There's no way.
Did they
just
say
no
just
way.
skeleton?
There's no. They haven't
Scroll,
spoke
scroll
about
back up real
flesh,
quick. They said no flesh, but like
organs, blood type, nothing. No blood is left in the body. Why don't we know? Why? It's weird.
I haven't heard anything about flesh. Obviously, it's just being bones is kind of descriptive. Not really. Is that being descriptive?
Yes, it's oddly descriptive. It's like,
Yeah.
Okay,
He's-
okay,
It's
okay,
eerily descriptive.
yeah,
Like
okay.
a fake out, kind of like I don't know,
we found some
man.
bones.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's dead. Yo, they found him. Yeah.
What? And they better have found all 32 teeth. You hear me? And then they say teeth. They didn't say mouth.
And if they really did find him dead, I think they would report that, wouldn't they?
Were the teeth
Well-
not attached to the skull?
Well, I know they play their cards close to their chests, at least like the forensics and the cops and all the I guess involved bodies. But are they still actively investigating? Like, does this article say that they're still trying to get to the bottom of it? Or have they closed the case?
It's a toothless nigga out here somewhere.
Does it say they closed the case?
Yeah, if they close the case, then maybe there's something we don't know that they're only talking to. With
I
the
know
family
everyone wants
members
to
and
know
stuff like that.
exactly what's going on every second possible. All of America is watching, okay, he said, but we'll never jeopardize an investigation to give the information out until the time is right. So I guess the investigation is still ongoing. They haven't closed it based off what this, and this was...
Yeah, so there's
Well,
They're
you
probably-
were
that was a
really
tweet,
short
not the
that shirt
statement.
that day.
So,
their
but-
investigators are probably thinking the exact same shit we're thinking too. We're just like, really, it's just bones after a month and a half.
It's oddly suspicious.
Yeah,
He wasn't
that's
that
all it needs
skinny.
to-
Just bones. No. Nigga ain't say I saw organ. Nigga ain't say it was a bloody mess. No, he ain't describe blood. You see a body, you not talking about blood? What death?
Alligators got some, dude.
Well, I'll
Strip to
tell you what,
clean.
it wouldn't be no
That is Florida.
bones.
It is Florida.
It wouldn't be just skeleton. He would have talked about flesh.
There would have been some
It
flesh.
would have been.
The way alligators work, they bite you and they twist you. That's why it's
They
called
not- they
the
not-
alligator roll.
They are not clean eaters.
The barrel roll. It's effective. It's a wrestling move.
Yeah,
It is
man,
an
what?
effective move.
What? I seen an alligator grab a nigga arm and do that twist, boy. I said, oh my God. Just to imagine that shit. Just the adrenaline panic. Fuck that shit. Anyway.
Well, no, before we leave this, I actually really want to address this to get y'all's opinion. Like, I'm still shocked that he hasn't left this country. Do y'all not think it's a good or bad idea to leave the country?
Who? If he's alive?
Yeah, like, if he's alive, this situation was you, would you still be in the country or would you try to leave the States?
So
My
try
ass
to-
would try to leave the States.
So you want me to hypothesize that if I committed a murder, how would I get away with it? Is that what you're asking me?
I
right now?
guess.
Yeah, John.
I'm gonna-
if you
Come
were to
on,
do
John,
it,
reveal
how
your
would you do it?
tactics. Yeah.
I'm going to withhold any comments on this topic because I will refuse for anything
You
to
plead the
ever
fifth.
be used against
You
me
plead
in
the
my
fifth.
life, yo.
You plead the fifth.
I plead
And
the
then in
1,
fucking-
2, 3, 4, 5.
In 10 years, you're gonna come out with a book on how I could have done it.
How I coulda done
What the fuck?
They're going to call me Bobby Patino.
If I did it, how I would have done it.
No, I don't know. That's
And then ... if I did. That's how you're gonna end the book.
All right, I guess let's move on. I just, I don't know, to me, that seems weird. Like, bro, like, if you're actually trying to genuinely evade, you seem to be doing a pretty shitty job evading.
He probably like just got daunted by how hard it probably is to actually do that shit in real life. You know, in movies,
Yeah.
it's always like, yeah, I'm just gonna run to Mexico, but in real life, it's like, fuck, like this is pretty hard. Because I remember I was in Kentucky and I had to get home from Kentucky to Texas, and all I had with me was a bicycle. And
I remember you telling me the story.
yeah, I fucking biked for 10 hours one day, and I remember by the end of the first day, I was just like, fuck, man, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. Like, this shit is-
nigga. You trying
So-
to do what?
Yeah, dude, I went to Kentucky to do some summer project shit, and I hated it, man. I couldn't get back home, and I spent all my money fucking up. It was for a good cause, but like I still just I failed. So I didn't have any money. I had a fucking bicycle to my name and like some clothes and shit like that. And then I was like, well, I got to get back to Texas. So how the fuck am I gonna do it? I figured I'd just start biking, man. I had a bunch of that Goals Bomb powder, and I was like, fuck yeah, man, I'll just use this shit and keep from chafing and try to see if I can make it.
What?
My plan was to stop at churches and like get water there. And I made it literally like 10 hours south with I hadn't even left like most of the city outskirts in the city I was in. And I decided I needed water. So I broke into a Methodist church and ran into the priest. And the priest told me to get the fuck out. And I was just like, dude, I need some help right now, man. Like, you're a priest. Like, this is one of those moments, like, where I was like, dude. And he looked at me like, "Are you fucking serious?" And I was like, "Dude, I'm pretty fucking serious. Like, I'm in a little bit of trouble. Like, And it's funny because I'm not religious, but I remember I was just like, this is what you do, right? Like, when people show up in need, like this is the help. Like, and he was like, all right. So I got into his office. I sat down, talked to him. We kind of completely disarmed each other and stuff like that through conversation. Crazy shit is that the guy was like from a town over where I grew up, and he had the same first name as I did. And yeah, we just ended up bonding. And so like the next 2 days, he helped me out, and he's actually the one who bought my bus ticket home, man. That's how I made it back.
Did you leave the bike?
No, I ended up going back for it and picking it up. But yeah, because when I got back to Texas, I got into a car with my brother, like literally in like 24 hours, and then drove back up to Kentucky and grabbed all my stuff, and then drove back down.
How
And then
long is that drive from Texas to Kentucky?
it's like 16 hours.
And you saw that and you said, I'm gonna bike the opposite way.
John's
When you
face
don't got
right now.
something else to do, man, you go for it, bro. And I
That was a
mean,
crazy solution.
like
to the
I
problem.
said, dude, once I hit 10 hours, I was like, all right, I'm gonna
10
start like
hours. It
asking
took-
for help actively as
It
I'm
took
actually
10
taking
hours for
slow
logic
steps.
to hit you. 10 hours you bike. How did your body? Well, hold on. First off,
Well,
were
what was my other
you
option,
already
though?
a biker? How did you get to Kentucky
I had gone up with some friends to do a summer program,
in a vehicle?
and yeah,
But you brought your bike.
yeah, because I needed to because I had to do the project that I was doing on bike.
That was when he was doing door-to-door sales, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so he had to needed
So
a way to get around and do
I
the sales.
Yeah, I had no way to do it, and when I did it, I ended up fucking up, and I spent all my money trying to make money. I failed, and then I was like, "Fuck, I need to leave," because I can't sustain myself. It was just impossible. So that's when I started doing that,
And the guys he
and
went with obviously didn't fail, so they weren't leaving. So
yeah,
his,
so I had to get home, and I didn't want to ask them for money for a bus ticket back because they were struggling as well, and so I ended up just fucking just cycling, and be like, well, I'm gonna do what I can, and fuck it, I'm just gonna do it, and
Did you
it worked out.
were you cycling via GPS?
I had my phone, so yeah, that was the best of it.
What when you typed in? Now this is an important question. When you typed in the address that you were going to, what popped up on the phone as far as time?
Honestly, I didn't remember. Like, I didn't think of it like that. I was just thought of it as like, I'm just gonna get home and I'm just gonna do it. And that was it.
Okay, and last question: Did you never planned on cycling like late night, 2 a.m., 3 a.m. cycling? You give yourself time to sleep, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just concerned, Doc.
Yeah,
That's a
I
tough
figured
story.
like
that's a tough story. This guy.
I figured it was gonna be fucking hard, man. Like that was the point of it. That's why I said like once I hit like hour 10, I was just like
10.
tired, and the logic was hitting me, and I was just like, well, I gotta ask around and do what I need to
Yeah,
do.
there's another way to do this because this ain't it.
Yeah.
Or charge your phone? How was you gonna charge your phone? The churches? Thank God that church that the first was that
For
the
real, thank
first
God
church
that-
you went to?
No, that wasn't the first church I went to.
Oh, okay.
That was honestly one of like the last church. Like I said, I broke in, dude. Like that was like
Oh, you like
one.
legitimately broke in.
Yeah, they oh fuck, I actually don't even remember how I got in. They were closed, like for sure they were closed, but I think they had left the door open and I just walked in. Like I didn't break any prop or anything to get in. I just
Oh,
remember,
okay.
I just remember I was in there when I wasn't supposed to.
Hey man, shout
And
out
that-
Jesus one time.
Dude, people tell me that they're like, "So you're religious now, right?" And I'm like,
You almost got me.
You almost got me. Freaking Doc. We'll get you one way. We'll get you one
All right.
day.
Hey, that's gonna be clipped out as Doc's story.
Doc's story.
Yeah.
Doc's testimony.
Doc's boy. Halaba, shalaba, shalaba.
All right, let's get.
I'm not gonna lie though, if I die and I end up at the pearly gates, and Paul's like, "Bro, for real, you still didn't take that one? Like, come on." Then I'll be like, "All right, John G. were right."
All right, let's transition to more Dave Chappelle drama. So Dave Chappelle had a response to the backlash because, as everyone probably knows because it's been very viral and out there. Dave Chappelle received a lot of backlash from his Netflix special, The Closure. Netflix had a what was it, a strike? What would you like a walkout?
Yeah, walkout.
Something like that.
Yeah,
Where
the walkout.
yeah, they said they tried to get 1,000 people. It was more like 100 or a few hundred. Not and some viral clips came from that. One guy had his sign stolen from him, ripped, and blah blah blah. Like I showed it to y'all. Like some stuff like that. Apparently, they made some false claims about Dave Chappelle They reached out to him for a comment, and he denied it. Apparently, he addresses that in this clip. But basically, there is some controversy going on about Dave Chappelle, The Closure, Netflix, and the trans community that works at Netflix, or people who support the trans community from Netflix. And this is Dave Chappelle's response from it. Let's watch the clip, and then let's react.
It's been said in the press that I was invited to speak to the transgender employees at Netflix, and I refuse. That is not true. If they had invited me, I would have accepted it, although I am confused about what we are speaking about. I said what I said, and boy, I heard what you said. My God, how could I not? You said you want a safe working environment at Netflix. Well, it seems like I'm the only one that can't go to the office anymore.
And he's sipping that shit too.
He did this.
I want everyone in this audience to know that even though the media frames this, that it's me versus that community, that is not what it is. Do not blame the LGBTQ community for any of this shit. This has nothing to do with them. It's about corporate interests and what I can say and what I cannot say.
Yeah, man. Free speech. Yeah.
For the record, and I need you to know this, everyone I know from that community has been nothing but loving and supporting. So I don't know what all this nonsense is about. In summer 2020,
That's what John's point he said earlier.
when the whole world shut down, I was outside doing shows. My neighbor had a cornfield, and he let me throw shows there, and people came from all over the country. Some people came from around the world to see those shows. The best comedians on earth came to my home and broke bread with me, and we lived our lives. We found a way to keep moving forward. I made a whole documentary about it. The first night of those shows was a piece that some of you might have seen. It was called 846, and it dealt with the murder of George Floyd. This film that I made was invited to every film festival in the United States, and some of those invitations I accepted. And when this controversy came out about The Closer, they began disinviting me from these film festivals. And now,
They're trying to cancel.
today, not a film company, not a movie studio, not a film festival, nobody will touch this film. Thank God for Ted Sarandos at Netflix. He's the only one that didn't cancel me yet.
You did cash well. How the fuck would they cancel?
To the transgender community, I am more than willing to give you an audience, but you will not summon me. I am not bending to anybody's demands. And if you want to meet with me, I'd be more than willing to, but I have some conditions.
No, joke's coming.
Of course.
First of all, you cannot come if you have not watched my special from beginning to end. You must come to a place of my choosing and a time of my choosing. And thirdly, you must admit that Hannah Gadsby is not funny.
Apparently, Hannah Gadsby said some things about the thing.
Yeah. Like, man.
I desperately want people to see this movie. But I understand why investors would be nervous. Since nobody will touch it, I'll tell you what I'll do. I will make it available for all of you in 10 American cities, going on sale in the next few days. You will be able to see this
You gonna
movie in
sell
its
out, too.
entirety, and
Ooh,
you can
yes.
see what they're trying to obstruct you from seeing. And you can judge for yourself, but you cannot have this conversation and exclude my voice from it. That is only fair. You have to answer the question, am I canceled or not? Then let's go. Thank you very much, and good night.
What movie is he talking about? This one?
No. Apparently, he said he was recording a documentary where he would do shows on his friend's cornfield, and I think the documentary was revolved around, I guess, the issues going on. And one of the things was that particular stand-up where he talked about the George Floyd
No,
murder.
yeah, he said he actually talked about multiple. I've heard about it before. He talked about multiple. It's just some of it's just random stand up too, but it's just that cornfield. One of those shows was that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like they bought that one, but I guess now I don't know, dude. That's. I just want to. Okay, let me ask a question. What makes you the voice of a community as an individual? Is it a calling or is it situational?
I think they're one and the same.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think they're one and the same. Because it's a calling, and the calling being the community themselves pick you up as, and then you say it was a calling or is it a situation? It's a situation because you have to be in the right situation
So let's
to
identify.
be lifted up by the community.
So
and
let's
called
identify
upon.
who was speaking to Dave Chappelle. Marianne something is the leader,
Something like that.
the
I know
most
you're talking about.
the
Yeah.
most vocal
Most
person.
vocal, organizer, something like that.
Organizer, right? She's speaking now for the whole trans community.
But she doesn't represent the whole trans community.
She doesn't represent the whole trans community. But as far as media is concerned, as far as the conversation is being had, she represents the trans community, the upset part of the trans community at Dave Chappelle, right? This lady, who has racist ass tweets, represents a community that she feels is being oppressed. But she can tweet, speak English, this is America. I'm tired of hearing Chinese people speak Chinese. I'm tired of hearing Spanish people speak Spanish. This is America. Yeah, I said it. So my question is, because she has whatever flaw she has, it doesn't take away from whatever message she's trying to say as a person. Does it?
No.
Message can still be the message, right?
Just simply put, doesn't matter what the message is, just it doesn't take away from the message. Sure. Okay.
Okay. So it's funny to me that the leader of that organization could be upset at Dave Chappelle over verbalizing something he feels to be not even an issue. He actually has never he's never said any anything they do any intermingling they do is an issue or anything like that has ever been an issue. It's been the
treatment or the privileges.
the fact we can't speak, we can't be critical of them.
Okay.
That
Privileges
fact.
then.
Yeah, that's what his issue is. So it's funny to me that she could be critical.
He's not
of a-
saying y'all can't be whatever.
Boom.
It's just
Because if you ask her, and I'm calling the person to her, I don't know what she would tell you she's not racist. But in the same tongue would turn around and tell you Dave Chappelle is a bigot or a homophobic or
Transphobe or-
transphobe.
yeah.
There you go, boom, transphobe. So it's just wild to me how somebody else's
I think that's what Hannah Gadsby did, try to say Dave Chappelle's transphobic or whatever. I didn't hear the specifics of the jokes, but I saw some quotes.
I feel like his message more is that there can't be resistance. It's not in the sense that, like, trans people shouldn't have that option to become trans or transgender in whatever direction they want to go or whoever they want to be. It's more so that we're not allowed to critique the the execution of the movement that they're representing. Like all of a sudden, a lot of people have to focus on pronouns, and it almost feels like it's illegal if we don't use them, and people can't comment on that without being some kind of a oppressive person, or somebody who's being hateful or anything like that. But yet the reverse can be done without any kind of repercussion. You know what I mean? Like, and more like regulation can be given by this group, and that's kind of, I think, the issue that he is trying to stop, because he's like, cancel culture, I think, is really what he's trying to fight. I don't think it's a transgender individual or even as a group. It's just the cancel culture aspect behind it that's driving it and that's empowering it. He
I,
doesn't like that because he doesn't want to be canceled, and he doesn't want other people and regular Joes to be canceled. And I think that
The
is
whole
really what
notion of it, yeah.
yeah, I think that's what he's tapping into. That's what he's got his finger on the pulse. And that's where the majority of people are starting to kind of gravitate towards him, because a lot of average Joes are scared, or average Joe and Janes are scared that they could be canceled for some sort of opposition to it. And it doesn't feel right.
I agree with that, but I think it's like a. I agree with that, but I think it's like he's saying he doesn't cancel culture is like a byproduct of what he's fighting. I don't think that's the main thing he's actually fighting. I think the main thing he's fighting is conversation, like the restrictiveness that people are putting on conversations, even between me and you as a friend or in small groups, whatever platform it is, because if you can't be critical, and let's be honest here, we're only being critical of extremes. When we're talking about anything, most of the time, what TV is perpetuating is an
Or the
extreme
extremes.
that we're being critical of.
Okay.
You're talking about
I can see that.
people raiding the White House. You're talking about the extreme of one side. You're talking about somebody looting or rioting. You're talking about the extreme of one side. You're not talking about the majority, the vast majority. And so, if you're not allowed to be critical, I think what he's saying is, if you're not allowed to be critical of an extreme, conversationally, where will we ever go? What are we actually allowed to talk about? Because that's the only thing to discuss. Everybody that's doing what they're supposed to be doing and minding their business, it's not much to discuss. We understand. Whatever you love is whatever you love. Whatever you're doing is whatever you're doing. Nobody's faulting you for that. Nobody's arguing about that. It's the extremes of every single point of thinking that people are critical of. And we're getting to a space where we can't even be critical of something that's an obvious extreme, which allows the gray areas that we always discuss to seep in. And I think that's what the real problem is, because if you're a comedian, or if you're somebody who, honestly speaking, hides pain with comedy or views pain through a comedic lens, that conversation is almost value. You almost look at it like the fact that we can't have that conversation is almost like me missing out on the material, me missing out on the a genuine moment, which I could almost either get a story from, which I could get this from, which it's just almost like a locked door of content. And it's whether you look at it just that way, or whether you look at it just you want people to grow or be progressive. If we can't be critical of extremes, like, bro, what are we doing here? Well, we're gonna talk. If I killed somebody and I'm like, yeah, let's talk about everything else I've done, but you can't talk about the fact that I killed somebody. Go ahead and describe me. But don't describe the fact that I killed somebody. What do you mean? It's part of the body. It's part of what I've done. It's part of my actions. It defines part of me. So I just don't get that. I think that's the purpose. I just don't get how we can't be critical of extremes.
I think that's the dilemma, though. Like, with social media and all that stuff, like, even looking at that transgender person that just came out with her like, I don't know her name. You were saying it earlier.
Mary
But
Ann
like,
or Mary something. I apologize
yeah,
for forgetting the name
like
wrong.
her previous life, I mean, she
Her previous life.
I don't I don't know the terminology. I'm like,
Just say it, dog. Let's get on with it.
yeah, like, previously on Twitter, you had all this like racial rant and stuff like that, and supposedly that was pre-trans and stuff like that. So, um, she said openly that, like, she was upset at that time because she was still he, and like you said with the whole murder thing, can you overlook that And if you can't, and then it kind of justifies a decent amount of cancel culture where people are going back in time to look over that stuff and like use it against them in the future. But I don't think that's also the right way either. I do think it comes down to a situational moment, where you have to kind of take every individual situation accordingly. It's just people don't know what to do with it. Like I don't know what the fuck to do with it. Like it makes sense that you would cancel somebody for saying that bigoted shit back then. At the same time, also currently, I'm trying to practice forgiveness to be like, fuck, like I don't want me personally. I wouldn't want to be canceled for these podcasts in 10, 15 years if I'm not on the right side of the zeitgeist when I get there. You know what I mean? Like
That's a
if
weird
in
mentality though, but I understand what you're saying.
yeah, because like in 10 or 15 years, like if whatever new philosophy that people are about, whether it's like hyper liberalism or hyper conservatism, whichever way we end up swinging, and then somebody listens to the podcast and they're just like, oh, look, Doc was on that side back then. Cancel him. Like, dude, you can't live your life like that, man. Like, I'm not gonna be. I'm gonna think 20 years ahead as far as like family and jobs and all that stuff like that, and try my best to be a current decent person. But like, I'm not gonna be like, well, I need to watch these comments or these tweets and like all this stuff because who knows in 20 years? Like, dude, it's just so restrictive, man. For a country that prides itself on freedom of speech, that is not freedom of speech, man.
I will say this too about it seems like sometimes I like to harp on liberals or something like that, or I'm not conservative or anything like that, but I'll say this too from the conservative side of looking at this. It's also not fair. Like for example, when people are critical of LeBron James and they bring up the China thing and how he didn't have much to say on the social issues of China. To me, that is the same as this person here, Marianne or whatever, being critical of another race, but then wanting to be super progressive when it comes to trans issues. The reason I say that is because you're allowed to. You don't. If you're standing for something, it does not literally mean you have to be socially a social justice warrior, a social thing for every issue. There are issues that you're allowed to say, I don't know. Or you're even allowed to say I don't care. I don't because I'm preaching good here. And that's why I said does her past racist whatever reflect this, because you're allowed to have an opinion on something and then maybe not, like if like for example LeBron cares about, let's say, black kids in the inner city going to school. He doesn't have to care about every kid on earth going to school, therefore just because it almost makes it, what's the point of even
Oh, the Cleveland kids get to go to school. Well, why not
why
the California
kids?
kids?
Yeah, but it makes it almost like, what's the point in doing good? What's the point if now I have to be, if I decide to be good on one thing, now I have to
Be good on
officially,
everything?
I'm an official spokesman of all that is good. No, it's more complex than that. So like, even this person, I would just think that this person would be more in an understanding place
But
to
that
have the
seems to be
conversation.
the issue, though, is whether you're conservative or liberal, blah blah blah. Each one feels like the criticism or the, be it positive or negative, but the criticism overall is not being equally distributed.
Yes, I completely agree. But that's what I said.
But that's
You're listening to extremes. We're all being critical of extremes. So it's like, you see what you see. All these all these algorithms are set to do this to us too. So if you all the time, the things you're clicking on are hate towards Donald Trump and you're a Trumper, or if you're all the things you're clicking are hate towards Biden and you're a Bideneer or whatever the fuck they're called, the algorithm is set
Let's
to
go,
always
Brandon.
show you that shit though. You get what I'm saying? So as far as your perception is oh, all these people hating on my goddamn dude, what the fuck? But the algorithm's literally showing you what you're clicking on. That's not to say that's the whole that's how everybody thinks. That's why I said I've had to really separate the content I'm viewing on the internet from the people that I'm interacting with and their opinion, and associating those opinions to people all the time. Because obviously there are people who are sheep and there are people who just whatever they accept, it they see on TV they accept. But even
And
we're
the
watching the
sheep
Russell
still?
Brand thing, dude, we're down to 38% of people trust what they're on TV. He said this is the second lowest ever in history that people have trusted what they're seeing from the media. So
think it's too much information, man. It's so
Too
much that
much.
nobody knows what's real anymore.
Well, also because of the like we just got to expressing, people aren't really feel like comfortable conversing with each other, expressing their opinions. Then obviously, if you can't even talk to other people to bounce your own opinions off of, and then now you got this coupled with you can't trust the media, it's like, who do
do
you
you trust?
trust?
Mm-hmm.
Is
I'm
it
right
weird
there
that
with
I'm
you.
actually kind of thankful for that? Like I've learned through internet conversing that in-person conversing is just so much better because there's so many more social cues that you're fed when you're in front of a person. Like you can read body language, you can read facial cues, you can read tone, so you can pick up on sarcasm. You can't get none of that over texts
And it's
and
more
stuff like
constructive
that.
because it forces you to engage in a certain parameter of things. Like obviously, when I'm being face to face or blah blah blah, I have to keep a level of respect in this conversation because if I treat you a certain way, well, maybe as we jokingly say amongst men, level of violence. Like it, like if I disrespect you, there's consequences to that. So if I want this to be a productive conversation, I gotta, even if I disagree with you or don't like what you're saying, I have to approach this with a manner of respect, humility, and that is lost when it comes to these internet conversations.
100%. Remember,
I'm
we've
behind a
always
screen,
spoke about
an
this.
avatar.
We've
I
always
get to
spoken
be the
about this.
jerkiest of jerks or whatever, what have you.
The importance of the building of a conversation, the actual foundation of a conversation. We always said is respect. Now, for example, if he goes and talks to Mary Ann, right? Mary Ann has in her head, Dave Chappelle hates trans. There's no conversation to be had. If in fact Dave Chappelle doesn't hate trans, if Dave Chappelle does hate trans, and he's going under there under the guise of I don't hate trans, there's no conversation to be had. You have to have something you agree on before the conversation can begin. So if they're going there like he hates trans and he knows he doesn't hate trans, anything he says will be taken in through the lens of there's a person who hates trans, and so there's no actual there's no place to build from. The conversation has to start with from a mutually respective point before it can build. If there's nothing there, then we're just gonna be butting heads till we finally either tire each other out and then say, oh, that's not what I meant. Well, that's not what I meant. And now we have to backtrack the whole conversation and now add nuance and context to a conversation that could have just been started with respect. So I don't even think it would be helpful for them. Who speaks to Dave? Because Dave represents himself. Is it Marie Ann?
He's never tried to say I'm speaking for a particular community. It's just I'm a guy, comedian who happens to be successful and well liked, expressing my opinions and thoughts, and y'all happen to like it and want to hear it. And I'm capitalistic country. I'm taking advantage of that.
Who
okay.
speaks for them? Do they want Marie Ann to speak for them? Because I'll tell you what, if it's Marie Ann on a one-on-one conversation with Dave Chappelle, it's not gonna go well for the trans community, and it's not gonna be productive for anybody who has questions for the trans community, because you're gonna feel like you left that conversation with a whole bunch more questions that they couldn't answer. And guess what? People hate more than anything: confusion.
To go back and make sense. I don't know if it's a random thing to go back to the whole thing with the New York governor with the Christian thing. Like, yeah, man, just. It brings questions like what I forget her name, the governor. What she said, it created more questions than answers. So because it creates more answers, it causes more confusion, and because it causes more confusion, you create these precarious viewpoints or situations, and it's just like it's not helpful. And that's why Doc didn't understand the offense. But the reason why I was, I guess you could say, offended was because you're not putting a good look on the Christian community.
Boom.
And the same thing applies, that you're not putting a good look on the trans community. You're not being helpful to answering questions that people are obviously having. There are so many questions.
The question
and you don't want to answer them.
That's wild.
Say that again?
The question itself is disrespectful. That's wild. That's where we are in conversation now.
What up, Ethan?
Well, I actually think that part of the issue is that like a lot of activism is very materialistic at this current point. Like there are definitely things that need to be fought for and need to be changed and stuff like that, and that's no exception, especially as like just human beings, us reacting to the world. I just think that there are certain levels of or certain individuals within large activist groups that are asking for things that are too materialistic in a way that it's like it's just disingenuous.
Say it,
like
Doc.
that person, she was making requests and like they were asking for like a transgender on the board, the executive board. They
Yep.
were asking for
Yep.
pay
Raises.
Say it,
increases.
Doc.
And I was like, that doesn't make any sense, man. Like, how I'm oppressed, give me a raise. Like, what?
Say it, Doc.
It just doesn't make any sense. So I think with that tied with the restrictions that are coming in from like just I have to follow these set rules, I have to speak this way, you can't lash back anything out. If you're with me, you're I honestly all you can be is with me because if you're it's the whole violence thing. Like if you're not saying anything, then you're being violent. If you're saying the wrong thing, then you're being violent.
Or
So you have to
silence.
be
Exact
right
silence
with
is
me.
The
violence. Yep.
thing
Yeah,
that happened.
Keep
and
going, Doc.
so you have to be with me, and being with me means I get a raise. Like what the fuck?
Boom.
Come on, man. Like
And you know what happened, Doc? You know what happened?
what?
Activism got monetized. And that
Capitalism,
was
bro.
our
We can't
downfall.
escape it no matter
That
what.
was our-
It's just
that
in
That
our
was
genes.
our downfall. Activism got monetized. Boy, and I'll tell you what. And this takes away nothing from the movement. It takes away nothing from the action. But boy, Kaepernick, Sean White or Sean King,
Sean King.
activism has officially been monetized. It's
I
not
didn't
to
go as
say
far
that
as
it's
I'm not even gonna go there.
it's not to say that anybody's done it with negative intentions. I'm not speaking on any of those things. But when
But when there's a
activism,
will, there's a
when
way.
doing good deeds got monetized, it no longer became doing good deeds. That's all I'll say. It's not if my mom always told me this, if I do something for a person's gratitude, I won't get the, if you're religious, heavenly gratitude because I've already got the earthly gratitude. So I'll just put it on that
That
point.
makes sense, and I believe that. I think that's a good place to leave. We're already past an hour. Any last points you guys want to make?
R. Kelly was pulling up to middle schools. I'm just
Look at it, bro.
gonna keep
It's just like
I'm just gonna keep it consistent, my boy. I'm just gonna hey, part 2. R. Kelly was pulling up to middle schools.
All right.
Teachers need to be arrested. The parking lot attendant needs to be arrested. The principals, the parents that was accepting payments from him. Everybody involved in that child molestation Uber Lyft ring needs to be demolished and put to jail.
All right, y'all. I think that's enough fake deep
John,
take for
that's-
today.
that's genuinely your way of fighting, John. I guess for
Every
that situation.
time.
It's just like I'm not saying we cancel him. I just want you to know.
Just
was going to
let
middle
y'all know
schools.
R. Kelly was
I
pulling
want
up to
you to
middle
know
schools
that.
Just shit loud. It's a thing.
with
It happened.
his music blasting.
You gotta
I
address
don't
this.
see nothing wrong. That's what he was doing.
All right, y'all. Appreciate y'all watching the show. Shout out to the Fresh
With a
and Fit
little
stands who left some
jail
comments.
time.
Appreciate the
I
love.
don't see nothing wrong.
Make sure you guys leave a comment. Make sure you leave a like. Make sure you share. Please
With
share.
a
Helps us
little
grow.
jail time.
Give us some more hate. See y'all next time on Fake Deep Thinking.
Hey, and if you don't like us, hit dislike and unsubscribe, you fresh and fit fucking goddamn shitheads. Peace.
Yo, see you,
Peace.
see you,